So, I've been obsessing over the latest updates on Capitano, and let me tell you, there is some juicy stuff. If you're like me and have been waiting for any crumbs about whether our favorite Harbinger will be playable, this is the video for you. With only 5 days left in 5.3, if you still haven't pulled the character you want or are preparing for 5.4, you can save up to 23% on your pulls with lootbar.gg. I will buy the 6,480 Genesis Crystals pack for $82, which costs $100 in the game. All I need to do is enter my UID and choose a server. Since every top-up goes through Genshin top-up channels, I received the double amount of Genesis Crystals for my first purchase and saved $18 on top of that. Besides Genshin, you can also top up in Honkai Star Rail, and Lootbar has around 20,000 5-star reviews for both games. I used Lootbar to send dozens of welcomes from my giveaways, so I can personally recommend it. Use my link in the description for an additional 8% discount. Well, the latest findings from Dataminer are giving us some mixed signals. Let's start with the good news first, because who doesn't love a little hope, right? First off, Capitano has a weapon slot on his back. Now, this might not sound like a big deal, but it's actually a huge indicator. NPCs don't have weapon slots on their backs. Why would they? They don't need to equip weapons like playable characters do. So, this is a pretty strong sign that Capitano is being designed with playability in mind. Think about it. Every playable character in Genshin has this feature. It's like their signature look. Sword on the back, bow on the back, you know the drill. So this is a big green flag for all the Capitano mains out there. Now, here's where things get a little iffy. Capitano's model is missing something called an effect mesh. For those who might not know, an effect mesh is basically what allows characters to show visual effects like buffs, debuffs, or elemental auras. Every playable character has one. Dottore, Skirk, you name it. But Capitano? Not yet. This is a bit of a red flag because it suggests that his model isn't fully ready for gameplay. It's like building a car but forgetting to add the headlights. Sure, it might drive, but it's not exactly street legal yet. Some people are speculating that this might be because Capitano's model is still a work in progress. Maybe they're tweaking his design, or maybe they're waiting to finalize his kit before adding the effect mesh. Either way, it's something to keep an eye on. Okay, let's talk animations. Right now, Capitano's animations are, well, let's just say they're a little stiff. He's got the basic NPC animations, which means his coat and hair don't move naturally. It's like he's frozen in time, which is kind of funny when you think about it. This big, intimidating Harbinger just gliding around like a statue. But here's the thing, data miners tested him with some basic sword animations, and honestly, he looks cool. Like, really cool. The way he moves, the way he holds his weapon, it's giving main character energy. Sure, the coat and hair are still stiff, but that's something that can be fixed with custom animations. And let's not forget, Capitano is officially the tallest character in the game right now, standing at a whopping 6.7 units. For context, most playable characters are around 6.0 to 6.2 units tall. So if and when he becomes playable, he's going to tower over everyone. Imagine him standing next to, say, Xiao. It's going to be hilarious. Interestingly, Honkai Star Rail already has 2 types of tall male characters, regular tall, like the male Trailblazer, and extra tall, like Jing Yuan. So it wouldn't be too surprising if Genshin follows suit by introducing a tall character like Capitano. Alright, before we dive deeper, let's set the stage for how we even got this information. So, a little over 2 weeks ago, a Reddit user, Freezing Athlete, 2062, posted a deep dive into Capitano's model and animations. This person had been working on unpacking Genshin Impact's files using Unity 3D, which is the game engine HoYoverse uses to build the game. In their first post, they focused on Capitano's sword and some early findings about his model. But in their latest update, they went even further. They stayed up until 5 a.m., talk about dedication, to analyze Capitano's animations, weapon slots, and overall model structure. So if you're wondering where all this info is coming from, it's thanks to this dedicated data miner who are out here doing the Lord's work for us Capitano fans. Now, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Genshin Impact has a history of teasing characters long before they become playable. Remember Scaramouche? He was an NPC for ages before he finally became the Wanderer. And look at him now. He's one of the most popular characters in the game. So, could Capitano be following the same path? It's definitely possible. The fact that he has a weapon slot and is being tested with animations suggests that Hoyoverse is at least considering making him playable. But the missing effect, mesh, and stiff animations tell us that he's not quite ready yet. It's also worth noting that Capitano is one of the most awaited Harbingers. If Hoyoverse is planning to make him playable, they're probably saving the big reveals for later. By the way, if you listen closely to the gossiping Fatui agents in Mondstadt, you'll catch an interesting revelation. Capitano's rank hasn't changed. The Tsaritsa deliberately decided to keep his position as is, meaning he is still rank 1 among the Harbingers. This confirms that despite whatever events have unfolded recently, his authority remains unshaken. Another intriguing detail is the mention of something wrong with the sky above Natlan. The Fatui acknowledge that this could be either a major threat or a rare opportunity, prompting the higher-ups to send more forces to Nod Cry. Given that this discussion starts with Capitano, it's highly likely he is directly involved in whatever is happening there. At the end of the day, this is one of the strongest indications that Capitano remains at the very top of the Harbingers. Despite speculation about Piero or others outranking him, the Fatui's own words suggest that Capitano is still the Tsaritsa's most trusted and formidable warrior. Whatever he did, it was enough to reaffirm his status as rank 1. At the end of the day, Capitano is one of the most intriguing characters in Genshin Impact right now. Whether he becomes playable or not, there's no denying that he's got a ton of potential. I know some people are thinking, let him die in peace already, but for a lot of us, including me, we've been waiting for his release for so long. It honestly feels unbelievable that he might not be playable. After all the build-up, the mystery, and his presence in the story, it's hard to accept that's where his journey ends. So let's hope for the best and see what Hoyoverse has planned. The latest findings are definitely promising, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that Hoyoverse gives us the Capitano we've been waiting for. Until then, I'll be here analyzing every leak and update like my life depends on it. Alright, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about Capitano's chances of being playable? Are you holding out hope, or do you think it's still too early to tell? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your theories. And if you're as hyped about Capitano as I am, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. Trust me, as soon as there's any new info, I'll be breaking it down right here. Save up to 23% on 5.3 banners at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.